Welcome back, everyone. In this lecture, we are going to learn how to fetch single post by passing in the post ID to the getRequest, which simply implies we are going to retrieve a post based on its ID. Let me break it down. Quickly head on to jsonplaceholder.typicode.com. Scroll to the route. In the previous lecture, we hit this endpoint, which retrieved multiple posts. So in this lecture, we are going to hit this endpoint. When you observe the two endpoints, you will realize that they specified the ID over here as 1. /post/ and then they append 1 over here. Let me show you. Click to open. And now we have retrieved a post with the ID of 1. So if you want to retrieve any post of your choice based on their ID, what you have to do is to move on to the tab and then append the ID over here. So right now I'm going to append 10. So here you will see that we have retrieved a post with the ID of 10. Can you see it clearly? Let's append another ID. Let's do 100. Hit the enter key. Now we retrieved a post with the ID of 100. And now the question is, how do we translate these to code? Knowing that in a real-world scenario, when a client wants to fetch a particular post, he or she doesn't have to come to the tab to append their ID manually. So now, how do we translate this to code? Don't worry, I will show you in a jiffy. Quickly head on to VS Code and let's proceed. Before we proceed, you have to go within the data fetching package and create a new component called fetchSinglePost.js. Here is it. So right within the component, I'm going to do RFCE to generate the functional component. Having done this, let's go to the fetch multiple post to lift some of the code down here. I think here we need lines 1 to 2. So highlight and copy. Come here. Wipe this off. Paste. Go back here. And as well, we need from lines 5 to lines 16. Highlight. Copy. Come here. Right within the function. Paste it. Beautiful. Let's make the necessary corrections before we proceed. So knowing fully well that we are retrieving a post, right? So right on lines 5, we do not have to do post anymore because you will realize that these variables are actually plural words. So we don't have to do that. Teaching you how to code like a pro. Best practices, extremely important. This is a variable and this is a setter function to update this variable. Of course, this variable is used to hold the initial state. Simple as ABC. And I know you love my explanations. Sounds good? Beautiful. Alright, let's continue. Having done this, the next line is to make some changes on lines 8. Because in this particular scenario, we want to grab the ID dynamically, right? So we want to impute the ID right on the input field. So what I'm going to do here first is to change this to backtick. And the backtick is located at the top left corner of the keyboard, right below the escape key. Having done this, let's quickly append the ID. So I'm going to do /. Now, we don't have to do ID like this. You know why? It is simply because we want to impute the ID by ourselves. So I'm going to do here $, and then open and close curly bracket. So now we can append the ID, and this will come dynamically. Having done this, we also have to create the state variables for the ID. So I'm going to do const ID, comma, set ID. The initial state of the ID is going to be empty, just like this. Yeah? Okay, fine. So right within the JSS, the next in line is to convert this to a controlled component, simply because we have to make use of the input field. So I'm going to do input type. Input type is test. And let's close it up with the self-closing tag. The on change here is equal. We're going to gain access to the event. Outside here, we have to update the input field. So I'm going to do like this, set ID, because the ID is what is going into the input field. Now I'm going to do, e.target.value. It's as simple as that. Lastly, we have to display it with the h1 tag. You can display it with any tag that you like, but for me, I just want to use the h1 tag for teaching purpose. Post dot, what do we want to display? We can decide to display the body or the title, whichever one you want to display. So now let's do title like this. When you save, now we have errors. So let's come here. It says set post is not defined on lines 12. All right, guys, take a look. Here on lines 12, we need to change this to post, knowing that we actually made changes over here. Yeah. So when you save the application, go back to the browser and boom. Now we have the input field here. So when I do 1, nothing happens. You know why? It is simply because our application now depends on the ID to get fire up. Do you understand? Let me show you. Come here. So here we just have to do ID. When you save on the browser, look, now we have the post with the ID of 1. Let me show you. Let's do 2. Can you see? 3, 4, 5, 6. Now when I change the ID to 100, it retrieves a post. Let me show you on the console. So I have to refresh, then Alt-Command-I to open up the console. So here I'm going to do the ID. I'm going to do 2 like this. Check out the data. Now we have the post with the ID of 2. This is the post body and this is the post title. This is all for now. Do well to subscribe and hit the like button.